there. Now I can see you kind of under my camera, so I'll just be looking underneath. It's like almost eye contact.
I started streaming. I have to double check if it's actually live. Are you on
No
YouTube
worries.
as well?
Yeah, give me a second. Somebody posted the link and I didn't look at it. I'm not gonna probably look at the chat. They're gonna
Yeah,
just be going
I'm
off.
gonna look at it occasionally. I want to see if we're actually live right now. Live. Okay, it is live.
What?
Oh, there they go. I see crypto curricula
Cookies.
cookies. Where's cookies? I don't see no cookies.
That's curricula. He's
Oh,
got it.
that's okay.
He's all over the place.
I'm like, who's that? All right. Chief. All right. He announced it on my Discord. George Lynn. All right, awesome. So we got a bunch of guys here. I'm assuming it's a bunch of Twitter people, right?
Mostly
That
today,
were going
probably,
like
yeah.
hard at me because apparently I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Right? Is that right, Food? And that's the reason why you're here to come and like educate me and put some smacking, some WWE kind of
So
smackdown.
I like listen, I think there's like a level of like smack that we're talking. Like you know what you're talking about in some respects. Like absolutely 100% you're a great farmer. You know, you're a great like dude, you've been grinding it out on YouTube. So like you got to give your respect to where your respect is due,
You,
man. Like you've been doing your thing,
but I
right?
have to
But
say
there's
something.
some things I think you might just miss a
All
little or
right,
you can
I,
explain
I'll
better or
I'll
you can
give it that.
explain better.
I'll give it that. Remember Chris, the Chia plot,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
right? All
I
right.
know
So
Chris. Yeah, I know Chris intimately.
and in the very beginning, he came to me, not him specifically, but he had other people tell him that the poor investor is like he's like all over the place. He's funding the shit, and then he shills it one time. I'm nor pro or con.
No,
If
no,
Chia,
and I know, I get it, man, and like I see that from your content too, and it's like you're emotional, that's what it is. But like, it's kind of weird because you're also like one of the lead kind of content creators on Chia. So
you
like,
know,
you're the first thing people see when like they search Chia, right? So for a lot of people, like, I mean, I used to be a huge fan of yours, actually, like a
oh man,
massive fan. I used
oh
to be on all
man.
your videos commenting, but then like it just turned to a point where we got to like a little bit more macro and a little bit less micro,
Well,
and
that's the thing
we
because
started just
I got to a point where I was gonna be like, all right, I'll do some micro stuff and I'll start investigating the forks. I'll do that. It's very tedious, man. And if you start
it's
telling me
super
to,
tedious.
yeah, you start telling me to explain like the NFT process or the whole, data layer and take everything that Gene says and kind of translate it, I can't do it. I'm gonna
Yep.
be dead honest. It's beyond me because on the technical aspect, it's not my thing, right? So I come on YouTube and I noticed that I've been gathering an audience that are very neutral against Chia. They're not the ones who are gonna go on Twitter and put the leaf next to their name. Not everyone at least.
Yeah.
So some are very doubtful in this project. And some things that they say, I could agree with them. Not everything, but then there's other people who'll be like, oh, Chia is gonna go up to $1,000. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, keep on dreaming, right?
No,
And that's
no, I'm
how.
probably one of those people. Absolutely, absolutely, dude. I think Chia's gonna moon one day. I mean, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow,
Maybe
but one
during the
day, right?
halving, right? Maybe I honestly I could
Do. I
say,
think there's a few. I think there's a few different things that could lead to Chia actually taking a good run in price, right? And that's one thing like that's really easy to touch on, kind of like it's all comes down to liquidity and volume, right?
right.
So right now, just kind of looking at coin market cap, you're looking at
Yeah, what do we got on coin market?
251 million, $9 million in volume. You have three exchanges
Yeah.
that yeah, actually, so you have one, two, three, four, five exchanges that are trading over $100,000 in volume a day.
So food, let me
Realistically, this
yeah,
is the main kind of point, right? Like we can't go talk about the price of tea in China when we're talking about the price of chia, man. We've
right.
got to like
So
break this down a little
let me
bit.
let me
Well,
let me give you my perspective of this, right? And you wanted me to go on Twitter. I'll be dead honest. I listen to all those rooms that these Twitter guys, you guys create, I may be silent. I don't talk. I listen, and that's how I put my own perspective into things, right? In the very beginning, you know how many subs I lost on YouTube because they kept saying that I FUD Chia? And I'll be,
See,
it's like, I don't know what to say to that. Because how do you FUD Chia for something that you've been doing for the last 2 years? Like,
no, exactly. Like, and I don't think that you FUD Chia. Like, dude, I'm one of the best people at FUDding Chia. Like, I'm one of the biggest maxis, but because I'm one of the biggest maxis, I also know how to kind of FUD Chia. And like, don't get it twisted. I'm not here to like defend Chia Network Incorporated, the business. I've actually had it out with Gene firsthand. Like, dude, he called my Marmotverse team unsophisticated
Oh
on an
yeah, I
AMA,
remember that.
and I went right into Keybase and called him an unsophisticated
I remember
asshat,
that
like
because
legit.
I
Like, I
brought Chris
tagged
on
him.
and we did a interview in regards to that. I think were you on that one as well? You were, right?
I don't know. Maybe I think I might have been on your
It's
channel once
yeah, it
before.
was it was a time yeah, it was a while ago because I don't think
No,
you
actually, I
showed
think it was just Chris. I think it was
it was
just
just
Chris.
Chris, right? So yeah, we
Yeah, I
were
think
talking
so.
about the marmot and the on chain, the space marmot, and he put it on
Yeah,
chain, and that was a whole issue with not just Gene but also Bram, saying
right.
that that's not
And
how you
Grant
should
and
be.
a
Yeah,
bunch of big people in the community,
you
dude.
you shouldn't
I
be
even
doing
got
that, but
Josh, one of the most like loved developers in the space right now. He even had it out with some of them over just asking some questions about
right,
it one day.
right.
Twitter's cutthroat, man. So you got to be
Oh,
careful
serious, man.
sometimes.
I got to a point where, I said I wasn't very active on Twitter. Occasionally I'll jump on,
Right.
but it's very toxic, man. I'm not gonna lie. I can't
Yeah.
if I get into it. Now, when I was, maybe not everyone on this chat right now on this live knows, but when I was going at it with you, I was just treating it fun and games. But I think some people who were responding to it were taking it seriously. Some of them, I was just like, I was thrown back. I was like, yeah, I can't do
Oh.
this. I can't stay on this thing. It's too toxic for me. I'm not gonna go on here and start crying and start calling out people. But if you're gonna say, and it was a few comments under that Twitter. I don't know how many more came on to chime in on the thread that we had together. Or I said thread or tweet or whatever. I
Just
don't
thread,
know.
yeah. Just thread.
Yeah, I don't know how many more came on and said, poor investor doesn't know what he's. Hey, I mean, if I didn't know what I was talking about, then tell me what it was specifically, because it was so much of he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I say the same thing about other YouTubers. Like I'm watching their content, and some of it's like, oh, this guy, he doesn't know entirely. It's like back and forth a little bit, but he doesn't know everything. I've said it many times in my videos, and not everyone has watched it to that extreme where they watch every single video. I have said many times, I'm not familiar with this, but I'm just gonna go with what I think it is. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So
And I think that whole it's kind of funny because like the whole point of me like even tweeting kind of at you in the first place was just like a wholehearted like kind of jest. Like I just seen like somebody post a clip of you talking about Austin and Seth, like the Chia Friends
I didn't say
thing.
anything
And
negative to Austin. I didn't
no,
say.
I know. I think no, and I think the whole thing was just like, yeah, like, does Chia care about us? And I was just like, well, that's leaving it super open-ended, man, because like Chia is like a multi-headed monster. You got like
Right.
Chia Network Incorporated kind of sitting over here as a business, absolutely focusing on shit that we could never accomplish as a
Right.
community. And like they have like lives and real money,
Of
and like they're
course.
taking like, so yeah, like, that was kind of like a weird question in that whole interview too, because it was like they were talking about Chia Friends, and then they brought up something about like the business, which happens because like a lot of like the Chia people that work for Chia, they're also a part of the community, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
there's
I
a
know
little
that.
bit of a
Yeah.
crossover there, so it's like hard to differentiate sometimes
Right.
between the two. There's like a lot, especially because you see a lot of things come from the community and then go to the company, and a
Right.
lot of things from the so there's like that can be like really helpful in knowing like just how to like tread the water of Chia though. Like my background right now is the Chia ecosystem map. I don't know if you've ever
No,
kind
I've
of
seen
taken
it
a look at this. Yeah.
from
Yeah,
John.
you're on it actually. You're under the QR code over here.
Oh, am I?
YouTubers over here. Yeah, you're in the corner over there. Just
I was
covered
like
by the
looking, I don't
QR code.
see anything because I mentioned it to John one time, the Chia links. Yeah, I mentioned it to him a while back when he first created this whole ecosystem. Yeah, no, you know what it is? It's like, honestly, on YouTube, you have to stand out a little bit, right? I'm not gonna come on and I'm not gonna start kissing ass. That's the last thing I'm ever gonna do. If I say some negative things, it's really just to bring, get people like, oh shit, like, is that, but I don't say it to the point where like, farming Chia is gonna kill your hard drives, although many people still believe that. I not once have I ever said that, No,
no, that's what I mean. Like, your stuff, like, what you know, and like farming is definitely like, dude, when you were doing like a lot of the farm, like, dude, you were the first person to crack open an evergreen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like, that's the kind of content that we need to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody else is doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like, yeah, there's just like, it's like some of the other stuff is just kind of like speculation, and like there's answers for this too. Like, you can come to us, that's why I'm like trying to like extend the offer. Like, if you got questions, like there's a bunch of Chia Maxis on Twitter that like deep dive and like, kind of like scrape the GitHub for information. We're sharing it on Twitter. It's where a lot of the builders kind of sit.
But do you see, like, my problem with that is, I have no problem going to anyone specifically, but that the response that you would get from a question that you would ask about Chia would be just one-sided. You know what I mean? It's not very neutral.
We're pretty maxi on Twitter for some of us.
So,
but like, we're realistic too. Like, you got to understand what the Chia community is kind of doing right now. Like, we are kind of leading the forefront of blockchain security, of blockchain decentralization, and just of starting that conversation with a lot of communities that are super just bullheaded, don't give a crap about any of that stuff. Number go up. Like, they don't care how many nodes are on a blockchain if it goes up 20x. Like, so you got to understand that, like, it's a super just competitive market in terms of like trying to get the likes and the views, just like YouTube. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
It's completely. Dude, I've been out here grinding for a year. You've been out here grinding for years. Like, we're two OGs in the Chia space at this point. Like, it's just, we have a little bit of a differencing, and not, I don't even think we have a differencing of opinion. It's just a different approach to how we kind of take it. I think so,
because you're more on the development end, right? And I could honestly say I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, kind of like the community. Like, I do a lot of community building, so so not less development, more community building. Like, I would consult with Chris on development before I did anything.
How's he doing? I haven't heard from him much now. Is he still around?
He's doing okay. He's had a little rough go of, all the stuff that's happened. I recall. We hope to have him back soon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
been a while.
For what he went through. Like, I still have him on Facebook. We still talk. We kind of were joking around about the ordinal thing that happened because, Bitcoin kind of stole our idea and added Taproot. But yeah, we won't talk about, that's a whole nother stream, so but like, so if you want to know what's coming to Bitcoin, you can look at the Chia roadmap from last year. Offer files. Anyways,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's a kind of funny little that's what I mean, like I said earlier, we're battling everybody, so gotta throw our jabs.
I read I think it was on Keybase, and it wasn't, I was gonna do a video on it, but apparently Chia had some money with Silicon Valley Bank, right? They actually, I think Gene actually mentioned that
they were exposed.
Yeah, they had some funding in there. I was gonna do a video, so I bet you, but I didn't, right? So I really wanted to wait for this discussion. I bet you if I did a discussion on that, or I did a video on that, right, pointing that fact out, it's a fact, right? Because Gene actually announced it.
It's absolutely 100% a fact. Yeah.
Right, and I guarantee people will be like, yo, why are you flooding Chia? Why are you bringing it down? Or, it's just content, right? It's just content. So, I appreciate you guys, great community. It's huge now. It's grown a lot from the last 2 years. When I started YouTube, there wasn't that much. It was just JM doing videos on how to plot, and then little by little, everyone started coming out. So now, some people were thanking me that I got them into Chia. I'm like, really? Like, I didn't really do anything, I just did whatever I did for myself. And apparently it worked out that way. Now, I said on my other videos in the past, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to lock myself into Chia. But look what happened.
Right.
2 years, and I've been still pushing out content like almost every other day on Chia. And damn, man. But no, I have nothing against you guys. And even when I was like tweeting back and forth with you, I was just, maybe, it's hard to look at expression and tone in a tweet.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I was like, you know what? I better stop, because I think.
Oh, I did a little bit. I knew what was going on. I was doing a little bit of just like hyping the video too, making sure everybody come and check out the live chat. Like, I'm a little bit of a marketer too, right? So we gotta hype the views a little bit. Like the whole point was, and like a lot of people in the community, like on Twitter especially, like they're just like, yo, let's like rein him in. Like if he has questions, like, dude, we will answer them, and answer them honestly. Like, we're not all like we're all super Chia maxi, but we're realistic about. I'm all about number go up too. I'll fucking I'll FOMO into some shit coins. Like, you got a good shit coin for me to FOMO into. I'll check it out. But
exactly.
Like, it's all just about kind of relative respect, and like, we can.
Oh, I lost you. You hear me?
The clickbaity stuff. We can like actually hone it in. So, yeah, you're kind of breaking up a little bit now, actually.
Yeah, it was likewise. I think I saw you break. Okay, is that good? We're back.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, so just like I said, we're just gonna like, if you got a question, come to me. Like, there's lots of experts in the space too. Like, if you want to talk about NFTs, I love talking about NFTs. Like, you'd be surprised at the utility that like Chia's brought. Like, and like, this is the thing. Like, a lot of people think of NFTs as like monkey JPEGs, but like all farmers currently use NFTs. Plot NFTs, distribute rewards, and keep the blockchain more decentralized. So it's like a perfect use case for NFTs.
Ever since I had Efficient, from Chia on here, he spoke to me about the whole NFT and his passion for it, and where the direction he wanted to bring it to. And ever since that video, I never really talked much shit about NFTs in general, like all these JPEGs or whatever people are selling. I let them be, because it's its own thing, I mean, people making millions off of it as well. Even as I would say this. See, this is where I say certain things, and people are like, oh, look, he's funding things. As useless as some of those JPEGs are, for the NFTs, I don't fault them. They're doing their thing, and they're making their money. So let it be, right? And I haven't said anything negative towards that. And I don't think I have ever gotten to the point where I would say something more technical than I can comprehend to even discuss about. Right. So
yeah, I think, you know what I think everybody's beef is? You're too negative on Chia Network Incorporated, the company, and you're not bullish enough on like Chia Network, the community. Because like, we're doing some absolutely revolutionary things with blockchain. Like, you got guys working with AI. We are just starting to build in the metaverse now. So like, that's where that whole like Church of Chia comes in. It's like an actual thing that you can go and visit in the metaverse. Like, you can wear the robes, you can be a part of the community. Like, it's literally a joke against maximalism. Like, that's all it is.
I totally understand that with the whole metaverse. And then my rebuttal to that, right? I'll come back with content. I'll be like, didn't Facebook just lay off like 10,000 people in the meta? Like, who's actually supporting this shit now? Like that kind of stuff. That's what I would bring back onto the table, because it drives people to be like more. I guess for myself, it's interesting. Like, right, you're building on a platform that's dying. Like, what's that going to get you? And then people associate that with being negative. No, it's being realistic. Like how?
Yeah, it's a hard time out there, man. We're talking crypto winter and a half. That's why it's speculate on Chia's price going nowhere for a while. Exactly. Like, you can't even buy Chia. Like, that's the funny thing is, like, you try to go buy 50 grand worth of Chia on KuCoin right now, the bots are going to move out of the way. Your buying power is going to exponentially decrease as they move out of the way. And then once that green candle hits the top, that big wick is just going to come all the way back down. And you see it all the time in Chia. People get caught with it all the time. So like, there's it's just not the right, like, man, this is where we're going to like, now it's like, we got to. It's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen like when you least expect it. Like,
Right.
and I don't
Right.
think that's gonna come necessarily from Chia Network, the business. I think the majority of the adoption that's coming right now is coming from the community and like the
Right.
building that NFT base of creators, artists, community managers, like getting into the AI stuff, like like the Chia Swarm is probably something you might want to look into a bit more, because they're essentially decentralizing the AI and then giving you credits. And then it's like almost like you can
Okay.
use your, you can add your graphics card to the swarm, and then
Right.
instead of doing proof of work, you get like proof of, use essentially
Right.
for
Right.
whenever somebody uses your graphic.
Yeah.
So they're just changing it up. You know what I mean? Like they're giving novel use cases, and a lot of that stuff's coming from Chia, like the community, not the business, right? Like Gene and Brahma and all those guys, they're 100% focused on like bringing in Microsoft and Seagate
You know,
and,
one thing
and
I really
Japan
want.
and all
Yeah.
these fucked up places.
So
Like most places, like most blockchains don't talk about this, but like, yeah, we talk
right.
world countries.
So you
And
know
that's a
what?
big FUD thing in itself.
Really? You
Oh,
think
dude,
so?
people like, well, dude, you got to understand, there's a whole entire community of people in blockchain that are like kind of like anti-establishment,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
right? So when you
Right.
start
Right.
talking about mixing government and like actual fungible stuff and crypto, it's dangerous, right? Like
You
it's
know,
like, oh, to some people anyways. I
one.
think it's a bonus, but
It's been a while, but I haven't seen it much. Like it hasn't happened as much on Twitter when I was more active. It was whether it was more Bram than Gene, and he would just come off really negative towards other projects, and I was like, why would you even need to go to that level? So that's how that all started. That because he did that a long time ago. He did that with the whole Ethereum before it even went proof of stake, right? And that's how I
oh, they
started
still
getting
do it. It's
right.
great.
I know.
They
So
still do it. It's
so
fucking hilarious
if he's
sometimes.
doing it, right? I'm not part of Chia. And that's how I got the idea of, you know what? Let me be a little more negative towards Chia. And that's how it all started.
Right.
And I have a
Yeah.
perfect, that's my explanation for it. And from time to time I would talk things that's happening. I'll sit through the whole AMA that they have on YouTube for over an hour, and I'll talk, I'll cut pieces out and I'll start talking about it. And there's other times that I'll just go a little negative. Now, I'm not saying
and I
like,
get that. And I think a lot of us kind of just sit and watch and are thinking like, how is this relevant a lot of the time to Chia? So it's like
right.
we're watching a Chia video, but like a lot of this stuff, like some of it I would consider relevant, but a lot of it just like speculative relevance,
Of course.
right? So
Of course.
and I get the stick too. Like I know what it's like to be a content creator. I used to game for like years, and so
Right.
I've done the whole stream grind and whatever.
You
Like
know
I
what?
used to stream for this mobile platform called Almond Arcade. It was terrible.
Right.
YouTube's way better. Stick
So
to
I
YouTube.
just want to, there's a decent amount of people. It's like 29 people on the
Right on.
live stream right now, right? And one thing I wanted to say is, Chris, the Chia plot, right? He stood up for me in the very beginning. He was like, some of the stuff that I talk about about Chia, whatever, it's very elementary. You know why? Because that's all I can comprehend. It's just that elementary level things, right? And if you start getting deeper, it wouldn't be relevant. But what I do on every video is I treat anyone who's watching it, possibly, or maybe even half of them are watching it for the first time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because I'm constantly,
I see
I see my subscription growing. And I know that every time it's growing, that there's a new person watching me for the first time. And that's how I treat it. Maybe they watch other videos in the past, but for all that I know, right, is that I'm going to be talking about it as if we all found out about it today. I'm going to add some of that in there. So if I start jumping on every video and start going into the details of how Giga Horse is developed and what, programming language he's using and doing all that, it'll be in over a lot of people's head getting into this whole Chia ecosystem. And I think, go ahead.
But then I think like at the same time, you got to understand, like you're trying to get people into the ecosystem. So that is including the NFT community. That's including the, all of these like AI communities. Like you never know what they might also be interested in too, right? And Chia is facilitating a lot of that stuff add blockchain. You know what I mean? Like NFTs are a great outlet. Like NFTs have done more for me than farming ever could, right? Like so that I gotta shout out NFTs. Like, and there's a lot of people like taking, like, you gotta understand it's very primitive. Nobody's been doing NFTs for 5 years. Like
Right,
we don't
right,
barely know what we can do with the technology. Like we're on NFT 1 standard. Is there going to be an NFT 2 standard? We don't know, because
right,
we don't even know what we would want in an NFT 2 standard, right? So it's
right.
like we're still learning as we go. So a lot of the stuff that like a lot of the other blockchains have, with a lot more money than we do, by the way, like, I mean, there's projects on Chia doing more with less right now, and that's
Right.
kind of like the spot where we're at. But like just taking the fundamentals and like just adding them to the cryptocurrency space has been really beneficial for the community, because like whenever we go to other, like, especially I'm in Twitter, right? So I visit a lot of other
Projects.
crypto
Right.
projects, communities. You know, I'm hanging out in Algorand spaces, I'm hanging around in Poly spaces, I'm hanging around in Hex spaces, all these
Right.
freaking random coins, right? And they all kind of have different views on how crypto should be, but like one thing a lot of them agree on is like Chia is very fundamentally sound, and like you can't argue with the fundamentals, right? So
Yeah.
like when you take all of these fun things like NFTs and you know, smart contracts and smart coins, and you start adding the fundamentals back into it, it builds for a really good base, right? So they're like, to say that Chia and the community is not leading the way the same way that like Chia Network Incorporated is leading the way in the world for the
Right.
like carbon credit market, IATA, the Climate Action Data Trust, like it's like two kind of, like, you know, you got Chia the blockchain, you got Chia the community, and then you got
Chia the
Chia
company.
the company,
Right.
and it's like a three-headed dog. You know what
Right.
I mean? And when we're all agreeing on everything, it just comes at you, and just
But
like you can't get
you
by
don't
it, you know?
think that if, let's just say, Chia the company fails, you don't think that reflects down onto the community and the
No,
development of it? No?
no, because the blockchain is built just so grandiose, man. It's so decentralized. Like Chia Network Incorporated can't tell you what to do. I
Oh,
burnt
of course
marmots
not.
onto the
Of course not.
blockchain.
Right.
Like I'm the prime example of that. Like they can tell me to do it or not do it if they wanted to. We
But
did it.
you know
So
how I see that is that, like right now, right? You have the option to use GPUs for plotting with gigahertz, and that's with Mad Max. But a lot of people don't want to go that route because of closed source and also a fee for,
yeah,
plotting, right? For farming and plotting, whatever it
cool.
is. But and they're waiting for the Chia network to release theirs. Now let's just say Chia network doesn't release theirs. Let's just say hypothetically. And these are the hypothetical thoughts that I would run through and be like, okay, let's just say that doesn't happen. So what do you think people are going to do then? So they're missing out from that fact that they can do it better and faster because Chia hasn't released it, but Mad Max has already done it, and whoever jumps on his thing will profit from it. So,
Yeah.
so
It
those are
kind of
kind of
reminds me of Mad Max the Plotter, though, too. Mad Max
right.
is like he's kind of an odd one in the space. He like really leads the development community in Chia for a lot of the really hard projects, I feel like. But he also does
On
his
his
own
own though,
thing. He
not
does
with
his own
Chia.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
that's
with
the
Chia.
crazy thing. He's
Yeah.
all like, yeah, like he's like, well, and that's the other thing. Like he's one of the developers in the community that Chia couldn't put a number on either. Like a lot of the developers in the space, Chia can put a number on, and then they're developing for Chia. That's some FUD for you right there.
Right,
They
and
steal
yeah,
all of our best
and Gene
developers.
said that they not like they had a falling out, that they just didn't have an agreement to anything, and he
Yeah.
started doing his own thing. Yeah, content like that. I mean, that's real life. It was proven that it was that because it came out of Gene's mouth again. So much things I could talk about and I focus on, but people
Yep.
who wouldn't, I guess, know about that portion of it would just say that I'm making the story up or I'm fudding
No.
Chia and this and that. So I'm in between. It's very hard,
Yeah.
you know.
No, but like that's the thing. That's where like kind of you see the Chia community leading Chia the company. Like now they gotta do something with their own, basic operating program. Like they gotta make the GUI hum now a little bit more, and
Yeah,
they gotta make it easy for people to do so. Like that's kind of a good great example of making the Chia community making Chia work, as opposed to like us having to learn their tooling sets,
right,
right? So
right.
it's nice that when that happens, it's very rare that that does. But like, yeah, just like that's one of the things where it's like, it's good to know, like, we're out here, like the Chia community can do things, right? We don't necessarily need Chia the company. Like if they end up failing at getting carbon credits, I mean, Chia the blockchain still runs perfectly, and you could
Oh no,
still do
I agree.
so much with it as a business owner,
I mean, it'll be
as
hard to shut
a
down like 100,000 plus nodes. You
yeah.
know,
See, like the main thing you got to understand about Chia is it's like a really build centric coin, especially in the fact that we're just hitting 2 years. Like the second anniversary of the Genesis block is on the 19th on Sunday, right? So we're literally like 4 days away from 2 years. But like, yeah, in that time we've come a super long way, and the community now is doing more than it was, and I think it can continue doing more than it was, because as we keep getting the word out that, like, you can do more with Chia than you can on things like Ethereum, and it's safer than things like Ethereum, and it's got more tools than things like Bitcoin. Like once that, like, people slowly kind of trickle in and you
yeah.
see the numbers go up, my follower count kind of trickles up a
Hey,
little by
Food.
day.
So
And
I would love to always have you back, but I just want to announce right now. I got like 10 minutes, right? Because I'm too poor for Zoom.
no worries.
I'm not paying for Zoom. I don't use it that often to justify that. But
No worries.
some guys were like, yeah, I should upgrade. But one thing that you mentioned right before we actually started live, that you guys were going at it with other projects on the Twitter space. Who and why?
Oh my God, we're going after just so it depends on which community member you're talking to
Oh.
and what day, and if we choose violence or not. But like a lot of it is just coming back to the fundamentals of crypto. Like Chia does things better. You want to self-custody, Chia does it better.
Yeah.
You want to decentralize, Chia does it better. You want to have your NFTs be safe and secure and do things that other blockchains can't, just because, like, each NFT is a smart contract rather
Right.
than having one smart contract for 10,000. So it's just little things that you learn, and you kind of got to pitch,
Can I?
and then you get the smart people
Right.
coming, so
Can I tell you something that I've been doing for the last couple of weeks? I was doing my taxes, right? And my accountant was like, "What the hell is wrong with your electricity bill?" I didn't tell him. All right. And he doesn't know. So I was like, yeah, I was just running the heater, it was really cold, blah, blah, blah. I'll be dead honest. Out of everything I shut down, I only kept my Chia farms up because it's just using that much less energy. All right. So these GPUs.
And yeah, we didn't even talk about energy. Like it's like for farm, like you got the farming for the miners, you got like better NFTs for the creators. Like that's what I mean. Like, dude, sometimes you got to just reach out to the community, man, because we are more than welcome to come on and help you out and answer any questions. Like, you might not see Gene or Bram on the channel for a little while, but like,
Right.
we can work up to that, we can get there. But like, yeah, like there's always somebody, like, dude, and there's some people that are way more expert on like a lot of these topics than I am too. Like,
Right.
there's guys out there, but like we've kind of built, like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm opening up the invitation to come hang out with us on Twitter every once in a while. Like, don't be afraid to jump up. Like,
I jump in.
There's no such thing.
I'm in the rooms with you guys.
Like, jump up and actually speak with us. Like, come and jump in. Like, you got to do it on mobile. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but like, just like come join, man, because you'll find something, right? And then like we can find you things to talk about with your audience. There's
I think
always
you
some
had
new
one
crap
yesterday.
coming up,
I
like,
even jumped. I rewatched it, or someone had it yesterday. Something was going on, and even today, this morning,
the best ones are unrecorded, by the way, just so you know.
Okay.
Like, a lot of the biggest alpha comes out of like the ones that are, so like, like when IPO, like I've actually fucking thought about that. Like, I'm not gonna dox, or like, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, but like Chia's verbiage has actually changed in unrecorded spaces. It's moved from we're going to be on a fast track to we are on a fast track. And I've taken that, like, I don't know if that was a slip of the tongue, if that was supposed to come out, but listen, I'm part of the community, so I can kind of say that kind of stuff.
That's
like, I'm not going to say who said it because I don't want to get people in trouble. But like, let's just be honest here. Like, that kind of stuff is the stuff, like, if you listen for it, like, it'll change how you think, right? And how you kind of promote your content.
I mean, that's how
I mean, thanks for letting me come on, man. Like, I mean, we
nah,
gotta wrap it up. So,
I wanted to clear the air. I think a lot of people are like, "Yo, this is serious." It's not that. It's not. It wasn't serious. I didn't take
No,
it
we're
to
a
be
couple
serious.
Chia maxis just having a little disagreement. Like I was saying, like I freaking argue with people that hate Chia, hate decentralization. They don't want the world government touching their crypto.
I
Like
even
they could
watched your
care
other
less what Gene
interview.
does.
You just had the other interview on the
Jim Rat, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I watched the whole thing. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
so
hopefully that like this me coming on YouTube happens a little bit more. I
yeah,
want
man.
to. I'm thinking about starting a little podcast myself and like having some talks, and
You
I'd love
see,
to
then you
have
got
you
my
on.
support
And
too.
yeah,
And all I
and
got, yo,
dude, I'm waiting for it. Like I've got the overlays in the works. I mean, I'm slow, but I'm steady, so we'll get there. I'm super
and
busy,
we'll
but yeah,
have
like
a drink over it, and we'll start talking,
yeah,
and that makes it even more exciting.
yeah.
But
I've
nah.
been throwing around some names, so you can help. Well, you can help me set it up, man. I'm terrible at freaking YouTube. I haven't done that crap in like what 4 or 5 years. I
Oh,
haven't
no
touched
problem,
streaming. Like
man.
I
It'll
had to
be
dust
us.
this microphone off, okay, for like the last few interviews.
Nah, that'll be awesome, man. I have no problem giving you a hand if you have any questions with that. Let me just read some of the comment. Bullish on PI watching other foods video. All right, all right. I prefer Doge. Doge. Is that no Dodge? Who wrote that? Slowest Time Lord. Who's slowest Time Lord? Threw me
Oh,
off.
that's actually Chia links.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cheers to you both. I have always enjoyed PI's attention to the blockchain. Appreciate that, Edward. I have a few more minutes because obviously, like I said, I don't pay for Zoom and I do not have any intentions of paying for Zoom. And I thank Food for coming on here today to, show me, teach me a lesson like he said he was on Twitter, right?
I
And
wasn't mean though, was I? Like I was just like, yo, come hang out, man. We'll teach you some stuff about like
who,
the
who,
community, and we'll like screw Chia the
oh,
block,
wait a
like
second, wait
Chia
a
the
second.
company,
I
man.
have
Like
a
we
I
got
have
way
a
better shit going
really
on here.
really positive comment over here. It's from Crypto Curricula, which is cookies, right? It's cookies.
Yeah.
He's saying great video changed my perspective. Is that perspective of me as
I think it's a revolution, man. That's all I gotta say. Like we're
Hey,
changing the game, man. We're coming hard in 2023 as a
the,
community, and we'd love to have you a part of that, like
okay,
leading the
all
charge
right,
on YouTube. So
not a
let's get some
problem.
more community. Like, dude, there's a bunch of NFT projects that probably love to come on and show their stuff.
Oh, definitely.
There's, we got people out here building with AI. We
I mean,
got guys building dexes and stuff. We can
I've
try to figure that out.
yeah, I mean, in the past, I had Gigi Pool, I had Hash Green here, I had Matt Max himself come on here.
Yeah.
A couple of guys from the community
Chris,
who's
yeah.
been, yeah, Chris, a decent amount of guys, and it's just little by little, and I made a commitment, and if anyone who's watching doesn't know, when my first video, or at least that first set of videos that I did on Chia, I said that I'm going to commit to this for the next 5 years, whether I like it or not. Right?
Yeah.
I said that, and I'm gonna commit to it. And if Chia fails before that, then oh well, right? But if they don't, I'm still buying hard drives. I literally bought 4 12-terabyte hard drives. So it's not like I can't fund this shit if I'm keep buying. And then I said, okay, I'll stop buying hard drives, and I started buying XCH on KuCoin. So
you're a green candle.
I don't fucking understand. How am I funding this?
It's not fun. It's just like you can inform a little better. There's some stuff, like I said,
Okay.
like we can go into like Chia the block, like you can fud Chia the company, but the community's just looking out for you, man. It's just you don't have to do a 100x video and talk about the price of Chia
totally
China, because some of us
I
trade Chia, we can talk about it.
I can't be the kiss ass thing. I can't do it.
No, and I'm not. Nobody's expecting you to. It's actually a good outlet, dude. I wish Chris was still here fighting Chia a little bit more. We need that high level security brain.
When he's told me he had the lawsuit from Chia, I was like, oh shit, we gotta hit these guys back. Like starts talking shit about them. I was like, and there was something on Twitter. Someone like printed out T-shirts. I was like, are you sure you could do that? Because you might get sued by Chia, the network. Chia, the company. So apparently Gene liked it. I don't know how that works out now. So I guess I could go print out Chia shit too, and not.
I'm wearing Chia shirt here,
and not have any repercussions on it. So okay, all right. I guess they stopped. Oh, great now. Are you still there? Okay. Sorry, that ended 40 minutes. Let's see. and not have any repercussions on it. So okay, I guess they stopped. Are you still there?